Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. I have a question today from a friend, June Dean, who says, Ramsey, is Judo better or Jiu-Jitsu if you had to pick only one due to limited time? And the same question regarding picking between kickboxing and Muay Thai. Please answer my question, as I am confused about what to put my son in. Okay. First, I must ask you, and you must ask yourself, better for what? What exactly do you want your son to experience in a martial arts class? What do you want that martial arts class to do for your child? If I personally had to pick one between Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, I would choose Jiu-Jitsu because that is more consistent with my goals presently. If I had to choose between kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I'll get into this a little bit, but I'll answer your question straight up right now. I would say Muay Thai because that is more consistent with my current goals. That's me personally speaking. Now, let's talk about kickboxing. Kickboxing is a general term. It's not a style. It's a general term for all ring sports that allow you to punch and kick. So kickboxing includes American kickboxing. It includes K1 rules kickboxing. It includes Muay Thai. It includes Gwangyokdo. It includes Lethwei, technically. It includes Savat. It includes a bunch of different combat sports that involve punching and kicking inside of a ring. All of those are kickboxing. Muay Thai is sometimes called Thai kickboxing. But Muay Thai, you should know, is this whole separate thing. It's the national martial art, the national sport of Thailand. To put it as simply as possible, what is technically and stylistically different about Muay Thai is that it involves a lot of clinching, stand-up wrestling. It involves elbows, all kinds of elbows, and knees. A lot of ring sports disallow elbows and knees. Muay Thai allows them. If you go to Lumpini Boxing Stadium and you look at the program they hand out to the tourists as they walk in over there in Bangkok, it explains the rules of Muay Thai at Lumpini Boxing Stadium very simply. It essentially says any combative technique while standing up, except for headbutts, is fair game. There you go. Now, when we're talking about picking a martial art for your son, I don't know how old your son is. I'm assuming he's young since you're the one doing the choosing. We have to ask ourselves some serious questions about what we want for our child. We do not want our child to experience brain damage. We do not want our child to get concussed. So it's very, very important to choose a school that will have the safety of your child as the number one priority. On top of that, almost all children's martial arts classes that I've seen are essentially movement-based play. The good ones, anyway. You might be thinking, well, I saw this one class where the kids were beating each other up. Those are the bad ones. Children are not ready for that. They can learn technique, yes. They can learn combative movements, yes. They can learn how to grapple and wrestle, yes. They can learn how to punch and kick, yes. But no, they are not ready to fight. Not yet. There's a certain age where, sure, we might consider taking that leap. But that's a question for another day, my friends. I personally am not a big fan of seeing kids in the ring fighting full contact. And in parts of the world, you do see that a lot. I've seen that here in China a bunch of times. It happens all the time in Bangkok, like at Lumpini Boxing Stadium, for example. After all the grown-up fights, after most of the crowd leaves, they have the kids' fights. And those kids are good, man, because they fight every other week. So what do you want for your son? What do you want for him? Is he being picked on at school and so you want to put him in a martial arts class so he can intelligently defend himself? Is it just something he wants to do? He wants to take a martial art? Does he want to be a professional cage fighter or something like that? Are you just hoping he might get some purpose and meaning and discipline out of the experience? I don't know. You didn't tell me. So what's better? That's a very subjective question. What's better for winning MMA fights? If you'd asked me that question, maybe I'd give you a very direct answer. What's better for fun? That's a very personal experience. So I couldn't answer that question for you. What's better for the planet and the environment? Probably not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because you gotta wash so many gis, man. Washing clothes, man, destroys the oceans, from what I understand. I read this article the other day about yoga pants destroying the environment. Yeah, sorry, ladies who love your yoga pants, man. Apparently, microfibers from those things, when you put them in a washing machine, come out, mix with the water. They are apparently impossible to get out in a filtration process, and they go out into the ocean, and phytoplankton, little tiny organisms that whales eat and that produce oxygen and keep the world alive. Apparently they eat that stuff and they die, and yeah. So that's going on a tirade right there. But better is subjective in so many ways. So you have to tell me, what are your goals? So our friend here asked this question. I noticed he left this in the comments a bunch of times, and a lot of times I'll notice a comment just come back over and over and over again. Like this guy keeps asking me, what do I think of this particular karate style I've never heard of? And I can't find any information about online, and I've told him again and again, I have no idea what that is. You'll have to explain it to me. So, yeah, man. Be really honest about what your goals are. Have a conversation with your son about what his goals are. Go take a look at those classes. Because the gym, the coach, and the team, the other students there, are going to have a much, much bigger impact on your son's experience, and whether or not that is good or better or the best, than the name of the style. There are a lot of gyms out there who say, we teach Muay Thai here. And then you go across town to another Muay Thai gym, and it's a totally different experience. It's a totally different style. You might go to one, and they might be very steeped in Thai tradition, and they might teach you the Waikru, the Thai dance that they do before the fights. They might be very insistent on keeping traditions and so on. And then the gym across town, maybe all they do is bang and spar and, yeah, screw tradition. And there's everything in between, man. Muay Thai is simply the Thai word for Thai martial arts. And it's not so much a style, if you will. There are a bunch of styles of Muay Thai. This is something a lot of people don't know. In Thailand, there are as many styles of Muay Thai as there are Muay Thai camps. Now, because of the rule set and because of cultural tendencies, you can see some commonalities in all the styles and all the camps. But to say, like, I train Muay Thai is almost like saying, I train UFC. Almost. Almost. A little bit. Maybe not as much. But you get the idea, I hope. Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, what's the difference between those two? Whew. Okay. Prepare yourself. Essentially, they're two iterations of the exact same thing. They're two branches of the same martial art. Kano Jiu-Jitsu, which later became Kodokan Judo in Japan, or more commonly known as just Judo. And Jigoro Kano had a student named Mitsuyo Maeda, probably mispronouncing that, who went over to Brazil, had some students over there, including a guy named Carlos Gracie Sr., and yeah, Those guys were the progenitors of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, so they renamed it from Kano Jiu-Jitsu to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, which is now more commonly known as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So what changed? Well, they kind of went in two different directions. Judo, which was previously Kano Jiu-Jitsu, became an Olympic sport. And they changed the rules a lot. Like a lot. If you watch judo matches from before 1983, I would say it was a much more complete martial art back then. You'll see people shooting in for double legs and single legs, doing a lot of wrestling technique because you were allowed to attack the legs. Now you are not. No leg scissors anymore. No leg scissor takedowns. Those got axed from the sport of judo because there was a high-profile match where two very famous Japanese jiu-jitsu or judo guys were going at it, and one guy broke his leg, attempting to not be taken down with the leg scissors. So the powers that be said, no more of that. So all of these little rule changes changed the sport of judo a lot, and so now the emphasis is almost completely on the stand-up game. Clinching and grip fighting and throwing, and very little emphasis on the ground game. Whereas Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu went in the polar opposite direction, very little emphasis on the stand-up game, a whole lot of emphasis on the ground game. So, they're both great sports, they're both awesome. You'll learn a lot either way, as long as you have a good coach, a good gym, and a good team to work with. So make those your priorities, my friend. I teach a class right now, which, if you look at the schedule of this gym I'm working at, it says Muay Thai. And yeah, I teach a bunch of Muay Thai techniques. But I call it a kickboxing class because, to me, that is a general term for all ring sports. So I will teach techniques from Sanda. I will teach techniques very specifically tailored to the sport of K1 at certain times. Okay? And I will sometimes teach techniques that I used in American kickboxing for that specific rule set. Why? Because fighters fight under different rule sets sometimes. And I want my students to be very well prepared for any of those. If you look at the early days of K1, there were these really awesome Muay Thai fighters who absolutely dominated the sport of Muay Thai. And then when they fought in K1 for the first time, they just got outscored. Because K1 penalizes the clinch, which is the strong point of Muay Thai. The clinch has to be active. If you grab something, you strike and you let go, you push out of that clinch immediately. But in Muay Thai, that clinch goes on and on. As long as it's active, you can keep going. But I love Muay Thai. I love Thai boxing. It's an amazing martial art. Or I guess you could say an amazing system of martial arts. I mean, there's throws and takedowns, there are sweeps, there are trips. You can catch legs and throw people around with those. A lot of great techniques, a lot of grappling techniques in Muay Thai. And that's one of the reasons I like it so much, is because there is so much to learn that I don't get bored with it. Whereas when you limit a style to something very, very specific, that's good because you get good at something very, very specific. But at the same time, it's easy to get bored with it. It's easy to get burnt out on it. Which is why I love the sport of MMA, because I never get burnt out on it. So I'm always essentially rotating what I'm focusing on. Boxing or wrestling or judo or jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai and so on. As far as children goes, grappling is great, especially when you have a position-based children's grappling class, because position comes first in all martial arts. Grappling is great for kids because they are not going to get blunt force trauma. Grappling is something they can do every day. and they can compete in that and not get seriously hurt and not get their brains messed up, not get CTE by the time they're teenagers. So for a kid, yeah, do some grappling. And I might, and this is a might, because there are some really good judo coaches out there, and there's some not so great ones, but I might recommend Jiu-Jitsu over judo for a child for the very specific reason that kids tend to be really bad at falling. A good judo coach will teach your child to fall and tumble and fall safely and all of that. And they should. So if you go to a judo class, make sure that's a priority for them. Man, my older daughter the other day, she was playing outside, climbing on some stuff, fell off, face planted. Oh man, it was a mess. It was a mess, man. She marked up her face, knocked loose most of the teeth in the front of her mouth. Oh man, poor thing. But yeah, kids are just naturally really bad at falling. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tends to take the falling out of the equation, just go straight to the ground and focus on position there. And yeah, the good gyms, in my opinion, as far as good for winning fights, are the ones who will teach you both aspects, the stand-up game and the ground game. Shop around. Trust your gut. Don't just trust some guy on the internet saying, go take this class or that class, because I don't know the instructors in your neighborhood. I don't know which gyms are in your neighborhood. I haven't seen them. I don't know those coaches. I don't know those teams. I don't know if they wash the mats. Check for that. Does the gym wash the mats? Because if they don't, that's a breeding ground for staph infections and other mat-borne illnesses and scabies. Man, you don't want scabies. I had that once from rolling at a dirty gym. That sucks, and it takes a very long time to get rid of. It's tiny little mites that live on dirty mats, and they crawl into your skin, and they burrow in there, and they make you itch, and it's one of the few itchy skin diseases that is actually treated by scratching. Because you got to kill those things. And one of the few ways to do that is scratch. The other way is essentially poison them, which involves poisoning yourself, and you don't want to put poison in your body. So, make sure the mats are clean, guys. You don't want to send your kids to roll on dirty mats, get scraped up, get bacteria in those wounds, and then, man, staph infections. They can kill you. They can kill you quick. So, man, take a little responsibility. Go check them out yourself. Ask questions. Ask some hard questions to those coaches. Ask them, do you wash the mats every day, preferably twice a day? Morning and evening. Or midday, right? If they have a bunch of classes in the morning, make sure they mop up before the evening classes. That's a great idea. Make sure they use disinfectant that will kill the germs. Man, that is such an important priority. I would say that's more important than the style, man. It's more important than the coach. Is the place clean to train in? Is the gym going to kill you or not? That's an important question. That's one of those things we can quantify objectively in good or better or best. What's the cleanest gym you can train in? How else can we quantify a good gym? What other hard questions do we need to ask? I should say simple questions do we need to ask to those instructors? Do the kids spar? Do they hit each other in the head? I don't care if they're wearing headgear or not. Headgear, man, watch my video on headgear. That's problematic. Headgear doesn't stop blunt force trauma to the brain. So if the coach is like, oh yeah, we spar, but they wear headgear, so they're okay. No, they're not. Watch the coach. Watch how he trains the kids. Does it look safe? Is this a guy you trust your child with? Is he a pedophile? Is he on a registered sex offender list? If so, skedaddle, get out of there. If you live in the U.S., you can look that up on the FBI database. Yeah, you can look up that information. But But then again, you have those guys in the closet who haven't been caught yet, so they won't be on there anyway. Ask some hard questions. And don't trust anyone. Don't trust everybody. Just because they've got a uniform and a belt doesn't mean they're a human you can trust with your child. I used to teach a lot of kids classes back in the U.S., and I kind of hate teaching kids classes because it's just not what I love to do. And there was this Taekwondo class I was teaching, and man, I had a hard time getting control of this class because there were a bunch of problematic kids who had no discipline. They had no positive role models at home, and so they were just screaming for negative attention, any type of attention at all. And there was this kid named Aiden, and he was the ringleader of the rabble-rousers. That's a tongue twister. Ringleader of the rabble-rousers. And I tried so hard. I tried everything to reach this kid, and nothing would work. And one day, Aiden's mom came to pick him up. And she met me for the first time. The first time you meet your child's martial arts teacher should not be 3 months into the process. It should be before they sign up for the class. And she said to me, "I'm so glad you're here to teach my son some discipline." Wrong. Parents, that is your job to teach your children discipline. So if your goal in putting your son in a martial arts class is to teach him discipline, then you failed as a parent, my friend. You failed as a parent. That is your job. It is the martial arts teacher's responsibility to teach your child martial arts. If he's a karate teacher, it's his job to teach your child karate. If he's a judo teacher, it's his job to teach him judo. But as a parent, it is your job to teach your kid not to throw things at people's heads and scream, "Poo-poo head, you're a poo-poo head." That's your job. So, yeah, man. Ask some hard questions to the coach, but ask some hard questions to your child. Get to know your child. What's going on in his mind? Is he being bullied? Is he the bully? Yeah, man. That's about all I have to say about this question. Thanks for the question. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Or email me at ramseydewey@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train.